Got married and we went to our honeymoon the next day. We decided for our honeymoon that it would be a disconnected honeymoon, meaning no computers, no cell phones, just being able to pour into each other, plan out what our family life would look like, what type of parents we want to be, what type of spouse we want to be, so really just pour into each other. And so, again, no phones, but at the time, Charlie's assistant gave Charlie a bat phone for emergencies, so there was only emergency phone numbers on this phone.
For years, conservatives online treated Charlie and Erika Kirk's honeymoon story like the beginning of a perfect political fairy tale. Two young newlyweds disconnecting from the world, turning off their phones, planning their future together, and building what supporters believed was the ideal traditional marriage. That was the image people saw publicly. But now, after shocking claims and growing tension inside Charlie's own family, people are revisiting that honeymoon story with completely different eyes. And suddenly, one detail is making everyone deeply uncomfortable. Because according to resurfaced speeches from Erika herself, Charlie allegedly spent parts of their honeymoon mentally somewhere else entirely. Not with his wife, not focused on the marriage, not even fully present. Instead, Erika described Charlie carrying what she called a bat phone for emergencies and listening to lectures connected to online Hillsdale courses during the honeymoon itself. At the time, audiences laughed at the story like it was some quirky example of Charlie being obsessed with politics and education. But now that Charlie's own sister is allegedly exposing deeper cracks behind scenes, people are starting to believe that moment may have revealed something much darker. Why would a man who just got married already seem emotionally checked out? And why are members of his own family now allegedly revisiting the same questions years later? That's where this story takes a turn nobody expected. Because according to growing online speculation, Charlie's sister Mary allegedly became increasingly uncomfortable with the way Erika handled Charlie's image, legacy, and public narrative after his death. And once viewers noticed the tension between Erika and Charlie's inner circle, the internet immediately started digging back through old speeches, old interviews, deleted social media posts, and resurfaced clips that suddenly looked very different in hindsight. What they found created a storm. Old reality TV footage, past relationships people claim were hidden, public speeches that critics now say sound performative, and repeated moments where viewers believe Erika accidentally exposed contradictions in the image she spent years building. But the honeymoon story remains the biggest talking point of all, because critics now believe that honeymoon may have been the first moment Charlie realized something about Erika that the public still didn't know yet. And if his own sister is now allegedly pulling back the curtain years later, people are asking one terrifying question. Did Charlie quietly start distancing himself from Erika before the public ever noticed something was wrong? Because once you hear the full timeline, the honeymoon stops sounding romantic completely and starts sounding like the beginning of a marriage already cracking behind closed doors. To understand why this honeymoon story suddenly exploded across the internet years later, you first have to understand how carefully crafted Charlie and Erika Kirk's public image always was. To supporters, they represented something much bigger than just a marriage. They were sold as a symbol. Young, conservative, faith-driven, disciplined, traditional, and completely aligned in values. That image became part of Charlie's brand itself, and for a long time, almost nobody questioned it. Whenever Erika appeared publicly beside Charlie, she came across calm, polished, supportive, and deeply committed to the same worldview he promoted every day through Turning Point USA and conservative media. Their relationship looked intentional, structured, almost too perfect. Which is exactly why people are now reacting so strongly to the allegations and speculations surrounding what may have really been happening behind the scenes. Because the internet loves perfect stories until small cracks start appearing. And once those cracks appear, people go back and re-watch everything. That's exactly what happened here. The honeymoon story originally sounded innocent enough. Erika described how she and Charlie intentionally planned a disconnected honeymoon with no social media, no distractions, no outside communication, just the two of them focusing on marriage and building a future together. Supporters loved hearing it because it matched the image they already had of Charlie. Focused, disciplined, purpose-driven, different from modern culture. But then came the detail that changed everything. Erika explained that Charlie still carried what she described as a bat phone for emergencies. According to her story, during the honeymoon, Charlie allegedly began listening to lectures and online coursework connected to Larry Arnn and Hillsdale College, instead of simply being present with his wife. The audience laughed, but years later, people are not laughing anymore. Because when you replay that story now, especially after all the recent controversy, the entire mood changes. Instead of sounding romantic, many viewers think it sounds emotionally distant. Almost like Charlie was already retreating into work, politics, and intellectual focus immediately after the wedding itself. And that's where the speculation surrounding Charlie's sister Mary enters the picture. Over the past several months, online discussions started focusing heavily on alleged tension between Erika and members of Charlie's family. Viewers noticed subtle reactions, public silence from certain people close to Charlie, and what some interpreted as quiet distancing after his death. None of this was officially confirmed, but internet detectives began connecting dots rapidly. Then things escalated. Commentary channels, social media users, and critics started claiming Mary allegedly became uncomfortable with the way Erika handled Charlie's legacy publicly. According to speculation online, the issue was not just grief or public appearances. Critics believe there may have been deeper disagreements about how Charlie himself actually felt privately during parts of the marriage. That changed everything. Because random internet gossip is easy to dismiss. But when people believe concerns are allegedly coming from inside the family itself, audiences immediately pay closer attention. And suddenly, old clips of Erika began resurfacing everywhere. One of the biggest reasons this controversy exploded is because critics started comparing Erika's modern public persona with pieces of her older life that resurfaced online. Before meeting Charlie, Erika France, her maiden name, reportedly lived a much different lifestyle than the ultra-disciplined image many supporters later associated with her. Old social media posts resurfaced, reality television clips resurfaced, archived photos resurfaced. Even alleged past relationships became public conversation again after internet users dug through old Twitter interactions and deleted content. Critics began accusing Erika of carefully rewriting portions of her past to better fit the conservative image surrounding Charlie's movement. Now, to be fair, none of this proves wrongdoing by itself. People evolve, people change, and having a past does not automatically make someone dishonest. But online critics argued the real issue was not the existence of a past. It was the alleged effort to erase or hide it completely while publicly presenting herself as something entirely different. That accusation fueled everything that happened next. Suddenly, viewers started examining every speech Erika gave through a completely different lens. Small verbal slips that previously seemed harmless became internet obsession overnight. One appearance in particular triggered massive backlash when Erika accidentally used the word assassinated while speaking emotionally about Charlie before correcting herself. Another viral moment came when she accidentally said grift instead of grit during a speech honoring his legacy. Individually, those moments might not mean much, but combined with growing speculation, family tension rumors, resurfaced clips, and accusations of image control, critics started building an entirely different narrative around Erika online. Then came the Amfest controversy. That situation pushed tensions into another level completely. After reports spread that a recreation of the tent connected to Charlie's death had allegedly been displayed publicly at an event, backlash exploded online almost instantly. Some supporters defended it as honoring Charlie's memory and legacy. Others thought it crossed an uncomfortable line into spectacle and political theater. The reaction was brutal. Videos circulated showing commentators visibly disturbed by the display. Critics accused organizers of turning tragedy into branding. And according to online speculation, people began wondering whether Erika herself fully understood how negatively parts of the public were beginning to perceive these appearances. That's important because this controversy stopped being about one single speech or one awkward moment a long time ago. It became about perception. The perception that something about the image being presented publicly no longer felt authentic to many viewers. And once audiences lose trust in a public narrative, every old moment suddenly gets reinterpreted. That is exactly why the honeymoon story became such a huge issue again. Critics now believe the story unintentionally exposed a marriage dynamic that supporters were never supposed to notice. Instead of a deeply connected honeymoon between newlyweds, viewers now see a husband allegedly distracted, emotionally distant, consumed by work, education, and routine, while his wife publicly tried to frame the moment as charming and inspirational. Some even believe Charlie may have already been recognizing contradictions privately before the public ever did. That theory intensified after additional online rumors claimed Charlie's family allegedly possessed information, recordings, or conversations Erika never wanted becoming public. None of those claims have been verified, but the rumors alone were enough to keep the controversy spiraling across social media. And the deeper people looked, the stranger the timeline appeared. Because while Erika publicly promoted modesty, discipline, and traditional values, critics continued resurfacing clips and archived material they felt contradicted the image she later built beside Charlie. The disconnect between those two versions of Erika became the center of the internet storm. Now, the honeymoon story isn't viewed as some funny newlywed anecdote anymore. People see it as symbolism. A husband allegedly pulling away, a wife allegedly controlling optics, a family quietly fracturing in the background. And according to online speculation, Charlie's sister allegedly revisiting these same uncomfortable questions years later is exactly why the internet refuses to let this story die. Because if Charlie's own family is now distancing themselves from Erika, publicly or privately, many viewers believe that means the real story behind this marriage may be far more complicated than anyone originally imagined. And according to critics following every new development, the honeymoon may not have been the beginning of a perfect love story at all. It may have been the very first warning sign. The deeper people dug into Charlie and Erika Kirk's relationship, the more the honeymoon story stopped looking like an isolated, awkward moment and started looking like the first visible crack in a much larger conflict that may have been building for years behind closed doors. Because according to growing online speculation, Charlie's sister Mary allegedly didn't just disagree with Erika privately. Critics believe she slowly began signaling discomfort publicly in subtle ways that only became obvious after people started rewatching old footage carefully. And once viewers believed there was tension inside Charlie's own family, the internet entered full investigation mode. Suddenly, every interview mattered, every speech mattered, every old clip mattered. People were no longer asking whether Charlie and Erika looked perfect together. They were asking whether the perfection itself had been carefully manufactured from the very beginning. That shift changed the entire conversation. One of the biggest reasons critics became suspicious is because Erika's public image always relied heavily on authenticity. She presented herself as disciplined, grounded in faith, committed to traditional values, and deeply different from what she described as modern culture. Her speech is often centered around morality, relationships, modesty, and becoming the kind of woman who attracts a strong traditional husband. But then old clips resurfaced that complicated that image dramatically. Viewers rediscovered interviews where Erika discussed dating culture very differently before meeting Charlie. Critics also resurfaced footage connected to beauty pageants, entertainment appearances, and alleged relationships that many supporters either never knew about or believed she intentionally downplayed later. Again, none of this automatically proves deception, but perception online moves fast. And once audiences suspect someone has rewritten parts of their history, every missing detail suddenly feels intentional. That's exactly what happened here. Internet users began accusing Erika of carefully curating a version of herself specifically designed to fit Charlie's political movement. Archived posts reportedly disappeared. Older bios allegedly changed, clips became harder to locate, and critics started framing the situation less like normal personal growth and more like aggressive reputation management. That alone would have created controversy. But then another twist pushed things even further. People started revisiting the timeline of how Erika entered Charlie's world in the first place. One resurfaced story in particular gained massive traction online. According to old clips, Erika allegedly contacted Charlie after attending or helping with an early Trump rally event in Arizona years ago. Supporters originally framed this as destiny. Critics now frame it differently. They argue Erika allegedly recognized Charlie's rising influence early and strategically positioned herself close to him before his movement exploded nationally. Whether that theory is fair or not, it spread everywhere online. And once it spread, critics started reinterpreting almost every major moment in their relationship through that same lens. Even the honeymoon. Because according to many viewers, the honeymoon story suddenly sounded less like two soulmates deeply connected emotionally, and more like two highly ambitious people already operating on completely different wavelengths. Charlie allegedly focused on lectures, coursework, discipline, and intellectual structure. Erika allegedly focused on presenting the relationship publicly as inspirational and emotionally meaningful. That contrast became impossible for critics to ignore. But then came the first major twist that truly shocked people. The family tension rumors intensified after Charlie's death. That's when internet discussion surrounding Mary allegedly became explosive. According to online speculation, viewers began noticing that certain people close to Charlie appeared increasingly uncomfortable with Erika stepping further into the spotlight politically after his death. Instead of disappearing quietly from public life, Erika became more visible than ever. She gave speeches, appeared at major conservative events, spoke publicly about Charlie's legacy, positioned herself emotionally at the center of the movement surrounding his memory. Some supporters praised her strength. Others thought something felt off. Critics specifically pointed to moments where Erika appeared unusually polished, composed, or politically focused while discussing deeply emotional subjects. Internet users accused her of sounding rehearsed rather than devastated. Fair or unfair, that perception spread rapidly online. Then came the speech moments that poured gasoline on the fire. One viral clip exploded after Erika accidentally used the word assassinated before correcting herself while speaking emotionally about Charlie. Another controversial moment came when she accidentally said grift instead of grit while praising his work ethic. The internet went insane. People clipped the moments everywhere. Critics accused her subconscious of slipping. Supporters argued she was simply grieving and exhausted. But by that point, audiences were already viewing everything through a lens of suspicion. That made even small mistakes feel massive. And then the Amfest controversy happened. That event changed the tone completely. After reports spread that a recreation of the tent connected to Charlie's death had allegedly been displayed publicly, backlash exploded online almost instantly. Critics were horrified. Videos circulated showing commentators visibly disturbed by people allegedly taking selfies near the display. To some viewers, it looked like grief had become spectacle. And according to growing online speculation, Charles' sister allegedly fell firmly into the group, uncomfortable with how things were being handled publicly. That possibility terrified people because it suggested the divide inside the family might be much deeper than anyone originally realized. Now, the honeymoon story became even more important because critics started connecting everything together into one narrative. A husband allegedly emotionally distant from the beginning. A wife allegedly obsessed with optics and image control. A family slowly pulling away in silence. And a public legacy battle quietly unfolding after Charlie's death. That's the framework internet detectives began building. Then came another uncomfortable layer. Rumors surfaced online claiming Charlie's parents may have allegedly been connected to leaked conversations or information Erika never wanted becoming public. None of these allegations have been verified. But once the rumors started circulating, critics became convinced there was an internal family fracture happening behind the scenes. And if true, it would completely change how people interpret Charlie and Erika's marriage. Because suddenly, the question wasn't whether random internet trolls disliked Erika. The question became whether Charlie's own family allegedly distrusted her too. That possibility changed everything emotionally for viewers. People began revisiting older clips, searching for signs Charlie himself may have privately struggled long before the public knew anything was wrong. That's why the honeymoon story hit so hard emotionally online. Critics argue that Charlie allegedly retreating into lectures and coursework during the honeymoon may reveal more than people realized initially. They believe it potentially showed a man already emotionally detaching into routine, structure, and intellectual focus instead of intimacy. Some viewers even theorized Charlie may have started recognizing inconsistencies in Erika's public persona almost immediately after marriage. Again, none of this is proven. But speculation exploded because audiences started connecting the honeymoon story to every controversy that followed later. Then another resurfaced clip made things even worse. Critics revisited speeches where Erika spoke extensively about traditional women, morality, church attendance, and becoming the type of person worthy of a strong husband. Those speeches sounded powerful years ago, but after the resurfaced clips, critics accused her of presenting standards publicly that allegedly did not match her own past privately. That accusation became one of the harshest parts of the backlash, not because people cared about her history itself, but because critics believed she built an entire public identity around denying or distancing herself from that history. And according to internet speculation, Charlie's family allegedly became increasingly uncomfortable watching that public image continue expanding after his death. By now, the narrative online had transformed completely. The honeymoon no longer represented romance. It represented suspicion. It represented emotional distance. It represented the first warning sign people believed Charlie himself may have noticed privately years before the public did. And the darkest part of all, many critics now believe Charlie may have felt trapped between maintaining the public image of the perfect conservative marriage and privately recognizing things were not as authentic as they appeared publicly. That theory is exactly why this controversy refuses to disappear, because people are no longer just gossiping about Erika. They are trying to solve what they believe was a hidden family conflict operating quietly beneath one of conservative media's most carefully protected marriages. And according to the internet, Charlie's sister allegedly reopening those questions may have accidentally exposed far more than anyone expected. At this point, the controversy surrounding Erika Kirk stopped being a simple internet backlash and started turning into something much more explosive. A full-scale battle over Charlie Kirk's image and what people believe was really happening inside the marriage before the public ever noticed anything was wrong. And according to critics online, the biggest reason this story keeps escalating is because Erika herself keeps giving the internet more moments to analyze. Every appearance, every speech, every interview, every emotional reaction, people dissect all of it now. But the situation truly spiraled when viewers began noticing what they believed was a major contradiction between Erika's public grief and her rapidly expanding public role after Charlie's death. Instead of stepping back from the spotlight, Erika appeared to move deeper into it. She became more vocal politically, more visible publicly, and increasingly positioned herself as the emotional protector of Charlie's mission and legacy. Supporters saw strength, critics saw ambition, and that difference in perception created a war online. Because many viewers expected Charlie's death to unite everyone around his family. Instead, people started sensing tension, division, and discomfort growing behind the scenes. Rumors spread that Charlie's inner circle allegedly was not fully aligned with how things were unfolding publicly. That alone was enough to fuel non-stop speculation. Then came the moment many critics say completely changed public perception forever: the tent controversy. Once footage spread allegedly showing a recreation of the tent connected to Charlie's death displayed publicly at Amfest, backlash exploded instantly. People online were horrified at the idea that attendees were allegedly taking selfies around something tied so closely to tragedy. Videos circulated everywhere showing commentators visibly disturbed, calling the entire thing unsettling and inappropriate. And according to speculation online, Charlie's sister Mary allegedly reacted very negatively to the situation privately. That detail mattered because it reinforced what many viewers already feared: that Charlie's family and Erika may no longer have been emotionally or publicly aligned at all. Now, people were no longer looking at Erika as simply Charlie's widow. They were looking at her as someone potentially controlling the public narrative around his memory. That's when internet investigators started revisiting every strange moment from the past again, including the honeymoon story, old speeches, resurfaced clips, and alleged contradictions in Erika's personal history. And suddenly, the internet found another moment that critics could not stop talking about. During one public appearance, Erika accidentally referred to Charlie being assassinated before correcting herself mid-sentence. The clip spread across social media almost immediately. Critics treated it like some kind of subconscious confession. Supporters argued it was simply grief, stress, and emotional exhaustion causing verbal mistakes. But then came another viral moment. While honoring Charlie publicly, Erika accidentally said grift instead of grit. The audience laughed awkwardly. The internet did not. Critics instantly clipped the footage and used it to push the narrative that Erika's public image was performative from the very beginning. The timing could not have been worse because audiences were already suspicious. So every verbal slip suddenly looked meaningful, whether it actually was or not. And once audiences begin believing someone is carefully managing optics, even innocent mistakes start looking calculated. That's exactly what happened here. Then another layer of controversy exploded involving Erika's older life before Charlie. Online investigators continued resurfacing old tweets, archived comments, pageant footage, dating rumors, and alleged past relationships. One specific rumor surrounding former basketball player Joshua Harrelson spread aggressively online after old Twitter interactions resurfaced. Critics claimed Erika had spent years quietly erasing pieces of her past that no longer fit the polished conservative image she later built publicly. Again, none of that proves wrongdoing. But perception online is often stronger than proof itself, and the perception forming around Erika became brutal. Critics began accusing her of transforming herself politically, spiritually, and publicly in ways designed specifically to rise inside Charlie's world and movement. Some even went as far as suggesting the marriage itself may have been built as much on political ambition as emotional connection. That theory became one of the darkest and most controversial parts of the entire internet narrative. Because once people accepted that possibility emotionally, they started reinterpreting Charlie's behavior differently too, especially during the honeymoon. Critics now believe Charlie allegedly burying himself in lectures and coursework during the honeymoon may have revealed internal discomfort much earlier than anyone realized. Some viewers think he may have already sensed inconsistencies privately but ignored them publicly for the sake of image, faith, politics, and the movement surrounding him. Whether true or not, that theory spread everywhere, and then came the shocking reveal that pushed the speculation into overdrive. People began questioning whether Charlie's own family allegedly wanted the public to see Erika differently after his death. That changed everything emotionally. Because internet gossip is one thing. Family fracture is something entirely different. According to online rumors, there were allegedly disagreements behind the scenes over how Charlie's image, death, and legacy were being handled publicly. Critics pointed to subtle distancing, silence from certain individuals, and reactions that they believed suggested unresolved tension inside the family itself. None of this has been officially confirmed, but the rumors became powerful enough that many viewers now believe Charlie's sister may have indirectly exposed years of hidden discomfort surrounding the marriage. And once that theory took hold, people revisited the honeymoon story one final time with a completely different perspective. Not as romance, not as quirky newlywed behavior, but as the first sign Charlie may have already been mentally escaping into work and structure, because something inside the relationship allegedly felt wrong. That interpretation changed the emotional tone of the entire story. Now the public sees a husband who may have noticed cracks early, a wife critics accuse of carefully shaping public perception, a family allegedly divided behind closed doors, and a legacy battle unfolding quietly while millions of people watch online trying to decode every detail. Even small moments now create controversy instantly. When Erika smiles publicly, critics analyze it. When she gives speeches, people dissect her wording. When she references Charlie emotionally, audiences question authenticity. That level of scrutiny becomes impossible to escape. And according to many online observers, the reason this story keeps getting darker is because the unanswered questions continue piling up faster than explanations. Why did Charlie allegedly seem emotionally distant even during the honeymoon? Why do resurfaced timelines and old clips allegedly contradict Erika's later public image? Why do viewers believe Charlie's family appears uncomfortable? And why has every attempt to honor Charlie publicly somehow created even more backlash instead of unity? Those questions are exactly why this controversy refuses to disappear. Because beneath all the internet drama, political commentary, and viral clips is one deeply uncomfortable possibility people cannot stop thinking about. What if Charlie realized something about Erika years before the public ever did? And if that's true, then the honeymoon may not have been the beginning of their perfect love story at all. It may have been the moment the illusion quietly started falling apart behind closed doors long before anyone outside the marriage could see it. Once the honeymoon story and family tension rumors exploded online, the reaction across conservative media, social platforms, commentary channels, and internet communities became absolutely chaotic. What started as a few resurfaced clips quickly turned into one of the most dissected controversies surrounding Charlie Kirk's legacy since his death. And the reason the backlash became so intense is because people were not just debating Erika anymore. They were debating whether the entire public image surrounding the marriage had been real in the first place. That question split audiences immediately. Supporters of Erika argued the internet was crossing dangerous lines by turning grief, awkward speeches, and old clips into conspiracy theories. They insisted Erika was simply a widow under unimaginable pressure trying to carry on Charlie's mission while being relentlessly attacked online. To them, the verbal slips, emotional moments, and public appearances were evidence of exhaustion, not manipulation. But critics completely rejected that interpretation. They argued there were simply too many strange moments, too many contradictions, and too many resurfaced clips for all of it to be coincidence. And once rumors involving Charlie's own sister allegedly distancing herself from Erika entered the conversation, skepticism exploded to another level entirely. One viral comment summed up the mood online perfectly. Random internet hate is one thing. Family pulling away is another. That line spread everywhere because it captured exactly why audiences suddenly became obsessed with the story. People started analyzing Erika's body language during speeches frame by frame. Commentary channels created hour-long breakdowns comparing older interviews with newer appearances. Social media users reposted clips from years earlier, claiming Charlie himself allegedly looked emotionally disconnected long before the public noticed anything unusual. The honeymoon story became the centerpiece of all of it. Critics especially focused on the moment Erika described Charlie allegedly listening to Hillsdale lectures during the honeymoon itself. What originally sounded quirky now sounded deeply uncomfortable to many viewers. Online users argued that a newly married husband emotionally retreating into lectures and coursework instead of fully engaging with his wife did not sound romantic at all. One comment that went massively viral read, "No phones, no distractions, except online courses on your honeymoon." Another user wrote, "That story sounds less like love and more like avoidance." And once those reactions started spreading, the internet became merciless. Every new clip Erika posted immediately filled with comments referencing the honeymoon. Critics repeatedly asked whether Charlie had privately recognized inconsistencies in the relationship years earlier. Some viewers even claimed the honeymoon story itself accidentally exposed the emotional dynamic of the entire marriage. Then came the Amfest backlash. That controversy intensified public reactions dramatically because it introduced a moral debate far beyond internet gossip. Critics accused organizers of turning tragedy into spectacle after reports spread about the alleged tent recreation display connected to Charlie's death. Videos showing people reacting emotionally to the display circulated everywhere online. Some viewers described the situation as disturbing. Others called it exploitative. Supporters defended it as honoring Charlie's memory and legacy. But the controversy only deepened the perception that something surrounding Charlie's public image no longer felt emotionally authentic to large portions of the audience. And according to online speculation, the belief that Charlie's sister allegedly disagreed with how events were being handled publicly added even more fuel to the fire. Then conservative commentary spaces became divided too. Some influencers refused to discuss the controversy at all, likely fearing backlash from audiences on either side. Others leaned directly into the speculation, openly questioning Erika's public image, resurfaced past, and role inside Charlie's movement. Meanwhile, neutral observers noticed something else entirely. The more Erika tried to defend or explain moments publicly, the worse the internet reaction seemed to become. That created a dangerous cycle. Every appearance generated more scrutiny. Every speech generated more clips. Every emotional moment created more conspiracy theories. Critics especially latched onto Erika's accidental wording mistakes during public speeches. The assassinated slip and the grift moment became memes almost instantly online. Some viewers treated the mistakes as proof of hidden intentions. Others argued people were being cruel towards someone clearly grieving. But regardless of intent, the damage was already done. Public perception had shifted permanently. And perhaps the most shocking part of the backlash was how many viewers started openly sympathizing with Charlie himself retroactively. People revisited old interviews and appearances searching for signs he may have privately struggled emotionally inside the marriage. That's why the honeymoon clip became so symbolic. To critics, it represented Charlie allegedly escaping into work and intellectual structure immediately after marriage, because something already felt emotionally off behind the scenes. Fair or unfair, that interpretation spread across the internet incredibly fast. Then came another major reaction wave involving Erika's resurfaced past. Once archived clips, old tweets, pageant footage, and dating rumors started circulating widely again, online critics accused Erika of carefully rewriting her identity over time to fit the conservative movement around Charlie. Supporters defended her fiercely, arguing people change and mature. But critics kept repeating the same point. The issue isn't having a past. The issue is allegedly hiding it. That argument became central to the entire controversy. And because of that, even people who originally defended Erika started questioning certain inconsistencies themselves. Meanwhile, some viewers became deeply uncomfortable with how obsessive the internet investigation had become altogether. They argued the public was turning a family tragedy into entertainment and reading sinister meaning into every awkward clip or speech mistake. But by then, the controversy had already evolved beyond control. Now, the internet sees this story as something much bigger than a marriage controversy. To critics, it's a story about image management, hidden family tension, political branding, and the possibility that Charlie himself allegedly recognized problems long before the public ever did. And because Charlie is no longer alive to speak for himself, every resurfaced clip, every old story, and every rumored family disagreement now carries enormous emotional weight online. That's why people cannot stop talking about the honeymoon. Because in the eyes of many viewers, it no longer sounds like the beginning of a perfect marriage. It sounds like the first moment the cracks quietly became impossible to hide. But the deeper this story goes, the more one possibility keeps haunting people online more than any other. What if Charlie Kirk already knew? Not everything. Not every rumor. Not every controversy people debate online today. But what if he realized much earlier than anyone understood that the image surrounding his marriage was becoming different from the reality behind closed doors? Because when people revisit the honeymoon story now, they no longer hear a cute newlywed memory. They hear distance. They hear distraction. They hear a man allegedly retreating into structure, lectures, routines, and work almost immediately after saying "I do." And according to critics following this story closely, that may have been the first visible sign something privately felt off long before the public caught on. That's what makes the speculation surrounding Charlie's sister so explosive. Because if Mary is allegedly questioning Erika publicly or privately now, years later, then many viewers believe those concerns did not suddenly appear overnight. People are asking whether the family may have noticed tension for years but stayed silent publicly for Charlie's sake, for optics, or simply to avoid detonating a political and emotional nuclear bomb inside conservative media. And honestly, that possibility changes everything. Because it transforms the story from internet gossip into something much darker. A family allegedly holding on to secrets while watching the public celebrate a marriage they privately worried about. That theory is exactly why the honeymoon clip keeps resurfacing over and over again. Critics now see it as symbolic of the entire relationship dynamic. Erika publicly presenting the moment as romantic and inspiring, while Charlie allegedly seemed mentally consumed somewhere else entirely. The contrast feels uncomfortable to many viewers because it creates the impression of two people performing very different emotional realities at the same time. And once that interpretation settled into public consciousness, every old clip started looking eerie in hindsight. The speeches, the smiles, the body language, the verbal slips. Even moments that once looked loving are now being analyzed like hidden clues. That level of scrutiny became even more intense after rumors spread that Charlie's family allegedly disagreed with how his image and legacy were being handled publicly after his death. Critics argue the increasing tension explains why certain people around Charlie appeared quieter, more distant, or emotionally detached during public appearances involving Erika. None of this has been officially confirmed. But online speculation has become so overwhelming that many viewers now believe there is a hidden story beneath the polished public version everyone originally accepted. And then there's the darkest question of all. Did Charlie try to pull away emotionally before the public ever realized something was wrong? Some viewers believe the honeymoon itself may have revealed that pattern immediately. Others point to Charlie's nonstop focus on work, education, politics, and public mission throughout the marriage as evidence he may have buried himself inside responsibility instead of emotional connection. Critics even argue that the reason the honeymoon story disturbs people so much now is because it allegedly sounds like the behavior of someone already searching for escape. Not physical escape, mental escape. And when you combine that interpretation with the resurfaced clips, the family tension rumors, the accusations of image control, and the backlash surrounding Erika's public appearances after Charlie's death, the entire story starts feeling less like a love story and more like a carefully maintained illusion, slowly collapsing in public. That's why every new appearance Erika makes creates another firestorm online. People are no longer simply listening to her words. They are searching for cracks, searching for contradictions, searching for proof that the version of events they were sold publicly was never fully real. And according to critics, the most revealing detail may still be the simplest one of all. A husband on his honeymoon allegedly choosing lectures and coursework over fully disconnecting with his new wife. That one image changed everything emotionally for people. Because supporters originally saw discipline, critics now see detachment. Supporters saw purpose, critics see avoidance. And the terrifying part is that nobody outside that marriage truly knows which interpretation is correct. But the internet has already made its choice. Now viewers believe Charlie's sister allegedly reopening these questions may have accidentally shattered the entire carefully protected narrative surrounding Charlie and Erika's marriage forever. And if more private information, family disagreements, or resurfaced clips continue emerging online, this controversy could become even more explosive in the months ahead. Because once the public starts believing there was hidden tension behind a perfect relationship, they never stop digging. And right now, people are digging harder than ever. The honeymoon, the resurfaced past, the speeches, the family silence, the alleged distancing, the growing backlash. All of it now points toward one massive unanswered question the internet cannot stop asking. Was Charlie Kirk quietly realizing the truth about Erika long before the public ever did? Because if that answer is yes, then the honeymoon wasn't the beginning of their perfect story at all. It may have been the exact moment the marriage already started falling apart behind closed doors, while the rest of the world still believed it was perfect. And honestly, this is why the internet cannot let this story go. What started as one resurfaced honeymoon clip has now turned into a massive debate about image, legacy, family tension, and whether the public ever truly knew what was happening behind closed doors in Charlie and Erika Kirk's marriage. Every old speech, every resurfaced post, every awkward moment, and every rumored disagreement inside the family has people questioning the version of events they believed for years. But now we want to hear from you. Do you think people online are reading way too deeply into harmless moments and grief-stricken speeches? Or do you believe the honeymoon story, the resurfaced clips, and the alleged family tension reveal that something much bigger may have been happening privately all along? And most importantly, do you think Charlie himself may have quietly realized things about Erika long before the public ever started asking questions? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this conversation is getting bigger every single day. And people are completely divided over what they believe is really going on behind the scenes. Also, if you noticed details in the resurfaced clips or speeches that other people missed, let everybody know because the internet is still uncovering new angles to this story constantly. Some viewers believe this is just the beginning, and if more alleged family information or old footage keeps resurfacing, the controversy surrounding Charlie and Erika could explode even further. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss when we cover the latest updates, hidden controversies, and viral stories everyone else is afraid to talk about. Because one thing is becoming very clear right now. The public image surrounding Charlie and Erika Kirk's marriage may not be nearly as simple as people once believed. And according to the internet, this story is far from over,